Hi there, and welcome to another Musical Theater Factory vlog. I'm Jason Sherwood, the scenic designer for Lerner & Lowe's Paint Your Wagon. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the fabulous set that we've created for this revisal production of the show. I had this terrible day one day, and I called my mother, and I was complaining about this horrible kind of work situation, and she was like, "Sweetheart, you make fake houses for fake people. What is so hard about that?" Which I thought was the greatest way to kind of summarize what a scenic designer does. The amazing thing about Paint Your Wagon is that not only am I creating fake houses for fake people, but I'm creating their kind of entire world. So we begin the play with all of our protagonists in all of their kind of different home places: Ireland, China, the North American South, and then they all converge upon the Sacramento Valley, which brings them all together into a community. So we have all of these different people from all of these different places bringing their reference points, their ideas about fashion, about architecture to this one space. So the fun in that is that we get to sort of create a mishmash of a place. So we have to create the landscape itself, which is all about huge sky, huge elements, rain, snow, this big sense of being outdoors, and then populate it with people who have created little pockets of what feel like home to them inside of that. So it's kind of this wonderful challenge of not only do we have to create personal spaces, but large outdoor landscape spaces, vast spaces, all in a very finite amount of space on a stage. Last season, I designed Jasper and Deadland at the Fifth Ave, and during that process, David Armstrong asked me if I would be interested in taking a look at this new version of the classic Paint Your Wagon that he was working on. So I read the script and was immediately attracted to the idea that, to me, it felt like a brand new musical in every way. We had all of these incredible classic songs paired with a story that really had a modern sensibility, that spoke to diversity, that also had this kind of fabulous historical context, but felt like it was put through the filter of kind of what a modern audience is looking to see in a musical. The design for this show is quite big and quite complicated and has many moving parts as we go from a forest to a valley to a giant thunderstorm, to the inside of a tavern, to the inside of a casino, to the inside of a tent. So we do kind of a lot of traveling. So there's a fair amount of movement in the set that everyone's going to see and experience, and we've kind of built that into the choreography in a fabulous way. But the aspect of the design that I'm probably most excited about is the way we've chosen to create all of these elements. So the sky is this massive, layered, gauzy, canvas built up, textural sky. There's this enormous moon and sun piece, and it looks like we kind of took a tree stump and sliced it in half, and you see all of kind of the rings and the lines within that. All of the trees in the show aren't kind of molded like bark to look like naturalistic trees. We've built them all out of gnarled rope and kind of bent it and twisted it and knotted it around so that everything feels like it was in some way created from the materials that these particular people would have traveled out west with: rope, lanterns, pickaxes, canvas, all of those kind of raw goods that were inherent to their survival and inherent to the way that they kind of created their life out in the Sacramento Valley are the items that make up the environment for the show. So it has this kind of very textural, very lived in, very utilitarian quality that also kind of lives in a very sculptural sense. So none of it necessarily, if you looked at one piece alone, you wouldn't say, oh, that's obviously a tree. But when you sort of see 10 of these, 40-foot tall rope gnarled sculptures together in front of this big moon, the whole thing all of a sudden really evokes forest, I think, in a very exciting way. The biggest challenge on working on a new musical is also the most exciting opportunity in working on a new musical, or in our case, a revised revival of a musical, in the sense that you're dealing with a lot of new material. So from the first time I read the script to now, entire characters have been removed, entire scenes have been shifted, entire plot points, the climax of the show, what happens at the end, all of those things have been adjusted in big and small ways. So as a set designer, an aspect of the job is creating the flow from place to place to place. Musicals are built or broken on transitions. Go watch Dreamgirls. And basically, the way that you create a really succinct an arc of an evening is through those transitions. So if a scene that was originally in place A goes to place B, all the transitions in between need to adjust. So the biggest challenge of working on a show like this is tracking all of that, maintaining the through line, and being able to sort of accommodate those changes as they continue to happen into previews as we make the show the best thing that it can be. I think our hope is that an audience is going to come to see Paint Your Wagon and see a story that's obviously historical, that obviously takes place in the past, but that has a real modern sensibility, that has its kind of finger on the pulse of what it means to be a person going on an adventure or experiencing something new right now. We want the design, we want the overall feel of the show to have a dangerous quality. These are people coming to a place that's untapped. There's no one living there right now. There's no one building a cabin there right now. They have to do all of these things from scratch. So while it has to be beautiful and it has to be vast and it has to be enormous, it really also has to have a certain dangerous quality. Like anything could happen here. Any animal could come around, any kind of weather situation could come around that could really create a tricky situation. So I want the audience takeaway really to be that there's kind of that sense of danger, but then that they see themselves in these characters, that these are a bunch of people who saw an opportunity and decided to go after it. And there's something kind of inherently universal about that idea, whether that means that you hitch up your wagon and go across the country, or get on a steamship and go halfway across the world, or just the way you go to seize an opportunity in general. Paint Your Wagon is about opportunity, is about seeing that opportunity and tackling it in whatever way you can. And all of these people from all of these different places are unified by that, and that creates a community. And there's something to be learned in today's climate, especially from the idea that everybody can be unified behind a single idea. That's a sneak peek at some of the design elements for Lerner & Lowe's Paint Your Wagon at the Fifth Avenue Theater. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at the show.